Today, I'm sitting down with Beyonce's favorite chocolatier and mine, the founder of Zac's Sweet Shop, Zac Coughlin. Zac, welcome to DITL.
Thank you for having me. My first podcast.
Your first podcast. What an honor. This is going to be so fun.
I'm excited.
Thank you for doing this. Some background and context on Zac and I, and Zac's Sweet Shop and Dear Media is a mutual friend of ours connected us, and I tried your chocolate and truly was blown away. I think I texted you, like you had sent me an assortment of stuff. And I think that within like 5 minutes, my husband and I had tried every single thing that you tried. And it was a lot of stuff. It was so good. We could not stop.
That's always the goal. A little bit of everything, a little taste of nostalgia.
The way that I've thought about your brand, or at least when I was first introduced to it, was like a modern take on Rocky Mountain Chocolate Factory. It gave me
I've never gotten that one, but that's a good no.
Oh my gosh. Maybe it's just like from growing up going to the West Side Pavilion and like outlet malls in Missouri, where it was something that my siblings and I used to, like, we used to go there and get caramel apples. And while it's not the same products and SKUs, there's something about it
it's
that just like,
yeah.
And I get that nostalgic feeling.
I love that. That sounds right to me. I've never been, but that sounds good to me.
So on DITL, we always start at the beginning of the day and work our way till the end. So what time do you wake up and how do you get your day started?
I usually get up around 7 a.m. every day. I do set an alarm, but I don't usually need it. I feel like my body just starts going at 7. I hate to admit it, but I do usually like roll over, go onto my phone. Before text, I check my email to just see what's going on, what I like need to do for the day, I would say. I check my email, I check my text, and I kind of usually just go straight to the bathroom, brush my teeth, do my skincare. And that's usually like the first chunk of the day. And it's pretty quick. Like I'd say it's 5 minutes checking emails. I don't usually respond to anything right away, but I just see, so it's in my brain what I need to do. But that's usually how I would say I first get up.
I'm fascinated by the way that people sort their emails. Like 5 minutes of sorting through emails is fast. Are you reading them? Are you just seeing like who they came in from and what the subjects are? Are you starring them, marking them as unread? Like the way that people filter through their inboxes is so particular. So in that first check, what do you do?
I honestly read everything. I open everything, but I'm the type of person where I go back and I just reread things. So I don't usually have to like mark things as unread or star them. I just am honestly just rereading things and mentally setting like a to-do list of like priorities and, you know, what do I need to respond to first, or what's the first thing I'm going to go to my computer for. But as of now, it's like a lot of, you know, checking designs for like custom projects and whatnot. So usually that's not the best to do on the phone, but I like know in my head, like, okay, I have these notes or I need to get back to my designer. So that's usually how it is. But I would say it's just reading everything. And then I go back and I do the same thing again, which thinking about it, I'm like, is that productive? But hey, I'm learning.
Listen, that's part of the process here is like when you talk through your routines and like the way that you kind of go about your day, there is this moment of self-reflection and being like, does this make sense? And I selfishly get to learn a lot from you and from all the guests on this show and start to implement new kind of processes in my own life. So I hear you on the just going back in and rereading. It's working for you.
Totally.
What about the skincare? Like you're glowing right now. Like your skin is like so pristine and great.
Thank you. I would say I used to do a lot more. I feel like now it's like less is more. So I use the Youth to the People Superfood Cleanser. That's like my everyday morning and night. And then I like Tower 28, so I use the SOS spray.
The best.
So good. Because as I've gotten older, granted, I'm not old, but I do feel like my skin will sometimes get a little bit red. And I feel like that's what the SOS spray is for, especially like in the morning. If I don't want to do like a full skincare routine, that's just like a good step. And I've kind of cut out toner and serum. I feel like it kind of dried me out and honestly did almost a little bit more damage than helping. But naturally, I'm very blessed. I feel like I have pretty good skin. But usually after the SOS spray, I do a moisturizer. So I either do Tower 28's moisturizer or I do Glossier's moisturizer. I really like that. Glossier's is a little bit thicker, but sometimes I like it because it like lasts a little bit longer. And then sometimes I also use Glossier's Future Dew. So that's what I have on now. So it's like a serum hybrid. So I guess sometimes I do use a serum.
What is Future Dew? It sounds great.
I know, I'm like, what even is it? It's like a hybrid between like a kind of like a glow on your skin, but also a serum. So you could honestly put that on like instead of like anything and it will just like almost mask things. But I don't know, like I don't wear any makeup, but I'm curious what step that would go on in the makeup like step process. But for me, it's the last step. So, and then sometimes I'll use an under eye cream as well.
Okay. Is there a brand of that you like?
I use Glossier's right now, honestly, but I'm trying to think of another brand that I like. I honestly want to get into the eye mask, like the overnight eye mask. I've never done that, but I see them all the time and I'm like, I just want to try it out.
I right now really want to try the Therabody like red light wand with the hot and the cold. And I have seen like every beauty influencer, not even beauty influencer, just like so many people on social posting about it. And we had the founder of Therabody on, and it sounds incredible as just like another kind of tool in the skincare process beyond just like eye gels or masks.
Totally. What does that like hot and cold? How does that work?
I think that what he said is that it's like 3 minutes of hot and then 3 minutes of cold, and it stays at the same temperature for those 3 minutes. And so you are getting the benefits of the heat and the cold because it's staying consistent throughout those minutes. And so the combined like 6 minutes of hot and cold help with, I think, like inflammation and redness. And don't quote me on all of this, but like
hey, I believe you. I'm sold.
I am intrigued. Yeah, for sure.
Wow. Okay.
So what happens after skincare is done and you're kind of getting ready for the next thing?
Teeth are brushed. I usually will go to my computer, to my desk. On like a perfect day, I try to do a little bit of everything. So I usually like schedule any sort of like calls for first thing in the morning between like 8 to like 9:30 a.m. Lately, I feel like I've been talking to people on the East Coast, so it's appropriate. But for me, like I have to do that because I go to the kitchen around usually between 9 and 9:30. So I usually have like 1, maybe 2 calls before I go to the kitchen. Because when I'm in the kitchen, it's not the easiest place to have a call, but I do them if I have to. I don't mind. I just feel bad for the vents, the chocolate machines running, but we make do with what we have. But so I usually will have a call, 1 or 2 calls in the morning, and then I head to the kitchen between 9 to 9:30. And on the way to the kitchen, I usually will listen to a podcast. I'll listen to music, kind of, or I'll be on the phone talking to someone. But actually, one thing I did forget is I usually do grab and get coffee. That's like my treat. Like every morning is I have a little rotation of coffee shops.
Where do you go?
I do like Community Goods, but that line is craziness. But I usually am up pretty early. So if I have time between like 7:30 and 8, I'll go then. But honestly, even now, if you go to Community Goods at 7:30, you have a line of 15 people, which it's delicious coffee. I love their matcha. Or I'll go to Swa in Larchmont because Larchmont's on the way to my kitchen. So I love going there. And I also love Groundwork. They're just really consistent. I love their matcha now too. So those are some of my favorite spots. But I do like to, I feel like, rotate, and it's like my treat every day. And I get coffee every morning or matcha.
So what's your order?
My order is either an iced matcha latte with oat milk and vanilla or an iced latte with oat milk and vanilla. But sometimes I'll have fun with it and get like chai or, I love a pumpkin season. I haven't dabbled too much in the peppermint situation, although I know that's a holiday classic. But I'll eat peppermint sweets, but coffee I haven't ventured too much to. But I would say that's usually, I try to alternate between coffee and matcha because I feel like coffee is a lot of caffeine and sometimes I do feel it. And I feel like matcha's a little step back, but, and they say matcha's healthier, but I don't know. I don't know how true that is.
Who knows?